The topic of today's video is going to be, we confuse being busy with being important. Is being busy actually being important? Is that true? Not really. Maybe it is. But it's all because of the perspective that we have. And that perspective has been shaped by the modern culture, which actually teaches us that if you want to look important among the people around you, if you want to seem successful in your life, you have to be busy. When they call you to hang out, you have to not be available. You have to be unavailable. And there are people who actually struggled so hard to be unavailable because that sends the message that he or she is doing something important in their life and they're not free and they have, quote unquote, bigger things to deal with. So, I'm so busy, I'm unavailable has become a saying, a statement of status rather than a statement of disappointment. If someone asks you, are you free for a coffee later this evening? You're probably going to say, yes, I am. And if at all you say, sorry, I'm busy, from the way that a lot of people say it these days, that statement, sorry, I'm busy, is to actually send a message, I've got bigger things to do than to actually drink a coffee with you later this evening. But this whole concept of being busy and being free has historically been completely different. When you hear the stories of the great emperors and the kings and the wealthy merchants back in the days, there used to be people who were actually free. They were free to go for hunting. They were free to go for camping. They were free to go on a long vacation with their mistress and enjoy a cup of wine or eat fruit and have a healthy conversation with the beloved. But this is completely invalid now because of the modern culture, which has, built this narrative that you have to be unavailable to prove that you are successful in your life. And being constantly booked and having an appointment every single day for lunch, for coffee, for dinner, makes you look pretty successful and you're wanted by everyone around you. So is this actually healthy? Is this a sign of a healthy society? I really doubt it is. So when you meet someone, when you meet a friend after a long time, the friend is probably going to ask you, what are you up to these days? And they're never going to ask you, what have you accomplished in the past week? So most of the time, your accomplishments are left behind. Whatever you've achieved, whatever you've succeeded and completed in doing is left behind. And you're forced to focus to do more. And you have to keep doing more and more and more until you're just exhausted and depleted of your energy completely. Most of the time when I say I'm busy, it answers the question, what I am doing, and it rarely answers the question, why am I doing it? I think the second question, why am I busy, is more important than what am I busy with? You can be completely exhausted after hustling for an entire day, and you may still be struggling to answer the question, was it actually worth it? Did you accomplish what you worked for? Or was being busy the entire day and cancelling out on your friends and coffee and being free and watching whatever you liked or reading something you love, was it actually worth missing out on all of it and being busy for this thing that you might have not accomplished? So being busy has become a lot about the identity rather than the output of why you're busy for. So being busy has become a lot about the identity than the output. So after all, being busy was not actually worth it. Maybe you should have preferred life over work. So it is something that we have to take in equation when we're planning a day, or generally when you're planning life. Because end of the day, you're being busy to live. You're being busy so that you don't have to work. Does that make sense? You're being busy because you want to find time to do what you actually love. If you're not being able to do that, then it actually raises very, very, very dangerous questions. And also, the modern work culture glorifies overwork. It glorifies overworking as a virtue that you have to achieve in order to be successful. And they may come up with stories of very successful people who had spent their sleepless nights working for the project that they were passionate about. They may come up with examples of tech founders who made billions out by selling their startup, but the reason behind their billions might have been their overworking or hustling efforts that led them to be successful. All of these stories are very common. But what we have to understand is that this hustle culture is not very healthy. You don't always have to work until you're dead. We can see motivational quotes such as rise and grind and sleep when you're dead and stuff like that, but I don't think it's actually very sensible. And in the modern culture, being busy is rarely about the output, and it's mostly about the identity. You present yourself as someone busy, and the people around you are going to go like, whoa, you're up to something big because you're busy. And also being unavailable, being busy with meetings, being tired and exhausted by working, by some people, they see it as an achievement, and they think it is to be worn like a badge around your body because it is something to be proud of. But I think we have to distinguish between being busy for something you actually love. For example, if you're being busy with reading the entire day and you love to read, it's a different thing. If you're busy with learning about something specific, for example, if you love cars and you're learning about about a particular kind of engine the entire day, and you love doing it, then it's an entirely different story. But I'm talking about hustling for the sake of hustling, working hard just because you want to prove to yourself you are working hard. But when someone asks you, why are you working hard? There may not be a specific answer. So being busy in this culture, in the modern culture, is a very, very prestigious, admired hobby. Is a very admired character, is a very admired personality. But historically, that's not always been the case. Like, as I said in the beginning, you work hard, you hustle a lot in order to be free later on in your life. The point is not to be busy. The point is to be busy for a while, get the output, and then be free. So I have had personal experiences where I would actually sit idle, and then I hear about someone doing something creative, like for example, he is working on this project, and I began to question myself, what are you doing? You're doing absolutely nothing. And you are falling behind a lot. Definitely not. When you're free, you can do what you love. All right? But when you're not free, you're refrained from doing what you love. So the point is to always do what you love. And I think that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and bye.